step check. Oregon, thanks for the hearts. Laura, Sheep Ninja. Above first base, Grammy, BHF1 Brown. Rose to Jesus. Pepper! You're killing it, Pepper. Doing new things. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Thanks for the tweets. Good afternoon. We've had a turn of cold weather here. Chill. But the colors are gorgeous. Is it still hot in Hotlanta? Oh, you're welcome, Oregon. Is it still sticky down in the south? Give you guys a few minutes to get in, and then we'll just have a chat about, you know what. Let's see how the chat's doing today. If you're joining me on Facebook, for some reason the Facebook chat does not show up on Restream. I'm so sorry. Hey, beautiful in South Texas, awesome. Cooled off a bit, still warm in Arizona, no humidity. You need this today, Amy? Okay, good. Fall in Missouri? Ooh, nice. This is my song, Akedah, which is the binding of Isaac. In Jewish prayer, they often refer to the binding of Isaac as a reading throughout Jewish worship. And what happened? The binding of Isaac speaks to us of the binding of Messiah as the substitute. Rainy day in New York. So it's kind of one of the deeper mysteries in the Siddur project. But the music, these musicians are so incredible. I wouldn't call this jazz by any means, but the jazz musicians, the way they play on it, they give it a quality that to me is a little deeper. And in this project, you have the paintings that go with it and explanations of the different prayers. You'll love this because I combine this Jewish prayer with a surprise at the end, and then we'll get to work. It's about surrender, this prayer. And so what do I sing? Reference, the binding of Isaac is about the surrendering, obviously, of Abraham's first son, and then the surrendering of Yeshua to take that place, and then the sense in which we bind our lives to the altar and we say, I'm completely yours. Oh good, chill's beautiful. So I combine the tradition of hymns with ancient Jewish prayer in this song, and it's kind of an interesting thing, and I'm hoping that by doing this and sharing this with my Jewish friends in different ways, that they'll begin to see the layers of how Yeshua, the Messiah, is layered into all their prayers and all their feasts and their celebrations throughout the Torah. The Torah and the prophets speak to them. So anyway, there you have it, just another layer in the Siddur project with other, why, thank you. In any event, here we are. Yet again, and we're dealing with this issue of fear, and the thing that's interesting about fear that I've had to really kind of get a grip on is that, it doesn't feel like we really have any control of it. It is what, I feel it, therefore I am afraid. And yet we have all of these scriptures that command us in no uncertain terms not to be. And so that made me wonder, well, why would God command us to do something we don't seem to have any control over? And of course, this is the whole essence of what we're dealing with in progressivism. Did you know there's a whole thing called emotional social learning, ESL, where now they want to take all of our kids' instruction and make it about how they feel and turn schools into safe zones where kids are supposed to be able to just express their feelings. That the number one thing what happens when they go into these classes is they're supposed to rate their feelings. And then they're supposed to create this place that's all about how they feel and a safe place for their feelings. And one of the more sinister parts of this emotional social learning is that it gives them the idea that the only safe place is within the bubble of their peers and in these classrooms, where then they are kind of diverted to handlers or mentors who then wind up taking the place of parents. And then it becomes all about how you feel and how feelings define who you are. And of course, when feelings define who we are, there is no end to that. Because you could feel like anything in any given moment. And if you decide that that is reality, that is who you are, it can take you no place except into more and more issues relating to, well, let's put it this way, you can't build on that foundation because there's nothing ever solid, nothing truth-based, nothing empirical outside of what you feel. And of course, then if sexuality is all about feelings, and feelings can't be helped, and I just feel that is, so therefore I am, and I should, and I feel, and I have an urge to, and therefore I am entitled to what I feel. And this is what we're dealing with constantly. And you guys can tell that you are in that environment. It's the swirling around the toilet bowl. There's really nothing you can ever build on, because at any moment, at any time, something could come into your experience, capture your emotions, and then it becomes so complete. And it actually, those things then can become wired into your brain, right? Because it's so complete. The experience of an emotion is, chatters throughout your whole body with all these reactions, whether it's good or bad or whatever. And these reactions then create a state where you begin to assign meaning to your feelings. And you and I what's the word? I just used it a second. We assign meaning and truth to what we feel. And the more then that is followed by thought and acceptance and reiteration, the more then we're wired into a set of thoughts and patterns. And then, interestingly enough, what comes first, the thought or the feeling or the thought? Actually, thoughts do stimulate feelings, and you can turn feelings away by truth-filled thoughts. But they get so mixed together, right? They get so utterly mixed together that the next thing you know, feelings are controlling thoughts, and thoughts are controlling feelings, and it becomes like, this is all I am, I've ever been. And it becomes more and more and more neurotic and self-fulfilling in so many ways. And so we need to constantly understand, and you guys have a handle on this, because if you come to the world at all with a scriptural worldview, an idea that God speaks truth and reality, that He defines what that is, it gives you such a heads up. We don't often like that when we've accepted a feeling that we want to embrace because it has meaning to us. And I think this is, so if I get a feeling of value from something, even if it's unhealthy, I assign meaning to that feeling. And if it's something I like and it kind of, I get something from it, then I want to attach more of my life to that feeling because it's got a meaning around it. For example, that's exactly what we're getting to, but I want to talk to you about the neuroscience and the psychology of feeling. And so you're jumping to conclusion. It's good. But let's talk about how we get there. For example, I have a dear friend, and her daughter has longed always for a feeling of value and specialness, and she has believed that that doesn't exist within her family. That ability to be affirmed and special, these people love me too easily. So their love for me can't have deep value for me. I need those people out there who are just beyond my reach, who seem to have a power. Their affirmation of my identity would really mean something to me. That's really where it's at. And so this child has longed to feel cool, to be cool and to be affirmed for being cool by those people there, because she's decided that that external source of society really holds the power to punch her ticket and to validate her ticket. So when she gets a validation, she has a feeling I'm finally enough. I'm finally good. I'm finally cool. I'm finally important. And I am all those things because that group there finally said it to me. And so then she begins to go and look for more of those feelings from that group there, because she's assigned a value to that and she's assigned a meaning to that. And the minute her family interferes with that, she becomes afraid, because these people are going to get in the way of that thing over there. So when we get an emotion, when it meets a need, a perceived need that we have, she has a legitimate need for feeling value, but she's assigned the power for her to enjoy who she is and be valued and validated to something else. She's given enormous power to another structure system that can be devastating to her. So we all have legitimate needs. We have legitimate needs that need to be met for value and worth. But when we assign power to lies, to false meanings, to other structures, to give that to us, we have real problems. And underneath all of it and weaving through it, all of it is fear. And fear becomes then a state that can overwhelm us. And when we feel the fear, we feel the affirmation, we feel the power of getting what we thought we wanted from some structure we assigned meaning to. And then we're afraid of losing that. That becomes a state also. And these things get hardwired into us. So when God says, "Be not afraid, I am your God, I am your source, I will take care of you, I am your shield, I am your reward," that's a multi-layered engagement with us to help us deal with the source of fear and the kinds of meanings we are attaching to other powers to make us okay. And the beauty of that is when we can break away and we can take back the power we've given to perfectionism, to perfection to make me okay. If I'm perfect, I'll be okay. If I get enough sex, I'll be okay. If I'm this weight, I'll be okay. If I kiss up to everyone around me and I don't make waves, I'll be okay. I'll be safe. I'll be loved. I'll be valued. So we assign meaning to emotions, what they mean, and they weave within our thoughts, and we give away an enormous amount of power. And then the moment any of that is threatened, we go into this fear state. And it's so intense that it seems like who we are. I am afraid. I am at a loss. I am. And this is where we kind of just fall into the, well, I can't help it that I'm afraid. I can't help it. I mean, but God commands us not to be controlled in overarched living out of a state of fear. Why? Because He's given us the power to assign the right meaning to the experiences in our life. And when you assign the correct meaning and value to the experiences in your life and the correct interpretation of who you are, what's possible for you, how loved you are, where that comes from, and why you want to have the one true, most powerful, all-knowing, all-seeing, all-loving, all-righteous being be the one who designed reality, who tells you what is. You want to get your deepest meaning and your deepest interpretations from him. Because if it's coming from that power structure, or the fact that you're going to play it safe here or you're not going to, all of those things can be shattered. And underneath all of those things is fear. Because if you'll notice how deeply we pursue structures that we've assigned power to and whose affirmations and, bennies we've assigned meaning to, when we do that, and then we realize how hard we work to, because the thing of it is when you give power to a people group, power to a sexual identity, power to any identity other than who God says you are, sexually and otherwise, and you give power to perfection or power to an emoji of yourself, I'll be accepted if I do this, or power to transactional relationships. If I do this, they'll do this, and then I'll be okay. When you give power to that, it's not true. And we can feel, when we do that, we can feel that we internally know that we're not on solid ground. And it can be taken from us. So if anything assaults it, anybody tries to interfere with your identity, what you think, what you feel your identity is, or your relationship you feel you're attracted to, or the thing you feel you have to be okay, or the coolness thing that this person, or this amount of money, or this much that, and this much that, you can, the interesting thing is, even though you're getting it and you think you know and you've assigned the meaning and you're wiring and all the little things that you think are going to make it all work for you in your structure, because it is not the truth and it's not coming from your creator and your lover and your king and your friend and your redeemer, there is an automatic fear state woven into all of us because it's not based on the truth, only based on feelings and meanings you've assigned to yourself and different bennies you're getting. And so the fear ratchets up. And you work harder and harder and harder to get those same things moving so you can get the same feelings to which you are assigning meaning about what you are and who you are. And wiring again, need more, gotta have more. And if any person waltzes into your situation to say, no, you're building with the wrong thing, the explosion level of a lot of times anger and denial is so high because those things create an automatic fear undercurrent because they'll never be enough. They're not based on the truth. And they can be taken from you just like that. So what is good fear? Is there a thing? Is there anything called good fear? Fear the Lord. Don't fear him who can steal the body, to harm the body, Jesus said, but fear him who can, together with the body, judge you eternally. The best kind of fear to have is the one that suddenly makes you aware that every other thing you have given your life over to get a feeling to which you've assigned meaning, but will never be enough. The best fear is waking up and going, oh my gosh, if I go down that road, it's a black hole. It'll never be enough. Look where that ends up. That's a scary place. That will leave me empty in the end. I'll stand before God, having forfeited my destiny, my relationship with him, my life, my purpose, my family, running after something that's not even true. It made me feel a certain way, and those feelings made me believe certain things. But now we got to unwind it to believe what he said first. And then guess what? Godly feelings come. Truth-filled feelings come, because there are good feelings to have. And they're feelings that are based on the reality of the truth. The feeling you can have every day as you get healed and your mind is transformed and renewed to the truth, that you can wake up every day with a literal sensation, a feeling of secure rest in him. Of what's, and your first thought can be, wow, I wonder what's possible today. Wow, can't wait to see how that turns out. Hope, expectation, positivity, encouragement, love, meaning, value, creativity. You can feel all those things as the norm once you decide to believe the truth. Over here we've got feel the feelings first, create your truth from your feelings, then spend your whole life trying to get more feelings because you've assigned meaning to those feelings and picked your truth based on those feelings. So now we're in a thing, and we know intuitively there's nothing underneath it. And it could all be taken, and any little piece that falls, any pixie stick out of the thing, and the whole thing could go falling down. Over here, as hard as it is, once you've wired yourself and reinforced feelings based on falsity, we have to go to the other thing where we go to the truth first. And we build on the truth, reinforce the truth, we speak the truth, we act in truth, we risk into truth, we do faith-filled, risk-oriented things, small and large, based on truth, and we relearn. We change our brains. And do you want to know what? It changes our feelings. And then we actually have the freedom to assign and reassign positive meaning to those feelings, because those feelings are based on the truth. See, you're hardwired for love. Did you know that? You're hardwired for love. You're hardwired to save energy, and you're wired for protection. Your body's wired to keep you safe. You're not hardwired for fear. You're hardwired for love. And you're hardwired to experience pleasure. So you want to make sure that your experience of love and safety and pleasure is based on truth. And then when those feelings that come that are assaulting truth, you can go, wait a minute. I got this whole truth thing over here that it's safe to build on. And guess what the cool thing about building on truth is? That cannot be taken from you. That can never be taken from you. The more you build an identity and a sense of value on what God says, and the people who know him, what they are also affirming, but that can never be taken from you. And it goes deep and long, and that's something you can build on, right? So when the other feelings, the depression, the sadness, the discouragement, the anxiousness, the upheaval from without and within, you can go over that and you go, wait a minute, I got a truth function here, and I can build on that. So I can evaluate feelings and say, no, thank you. I'm going to go back over to the truth statement, and those truth-filled thoughts actually change and modify those guys, and they have to go here. And then you can rest in the happier feelings, the pleasant feelings, because they're not denial. They're reality. That's right. Without truth, feelings are completely, relative, and there's no way to build. So, for example, if I didn't have a truth-oriented soul matured in the truth of the gospel, the truth of what the Bible says is morally virtuous, and how I should behave, and what I do with my body, and how sex works between man and woman in marriage, for example, and I have a feeling of attraction or passion towards someone, I could give myself to that feeling and wind up in a lot of trouble. But when I function out of truth and the love that God has for me, and I experience a feeling of love toward my husband or toward the person that God has brought into my life, I can enjoy those feelings as a reiteration of truth, beauty, and goodness. I can enjoy those feelings. I can cultivate those feelings. I can cultivate romance. I can cultivate attraction because it's all truth-based, right? Or let's just go with affirmations. If I don't have a deeply well and seated sense of the truth of what God thinks about me, then when I feel like I felt this before, especially as a younger person dealing with the music industry and stuff, when somebody who, like Hollywood called and they want to sign on the dotted line and we'll make you a star, and you get those kind of affirmations in your gift, in your area of your dreams, somebody comes along with a lot of power. Wow, you're the best thing ever. Wow, what a voice, what a song. Wow, I should, you want to sign here. And I have had that happen to me. People who saw something in me and they wanted to grab my gifts for their marketing, their business, their power. And when somebody with power comes in and affirms you, right? Affirms you, you get a hit. You get the endorphin. Wow, I'm special. And you can go and you can assign meaning to that, and you can go after that to get more, to fill that void, to be the next whoever it is, to get the affirmation and the marketing and the likes and the views and the adulation, right? And find out that it's all a false thing. But over here, let's just use this other example. If I'm receiving affirmation from my Heavenly Father, and affirmation from people around me who are grounded and whatever, and are affirming what He's told me, and that's my first place, I can actually really let that soak into me, and it becomes a healthy form of affirmation, right? That my point is this, and you had an interesting question, Stephanie, when you're widowed at 57. Well, first of all, it ain't over till the Messiah sings. So you've got to work through what comes up for you, those emotions of grief, and as you feel them and as you deal with that, and you deal with your loss, the loss of your husband, the loss of your physical relationship and all those things, as those feelings come up, you're going to need to bring them into God's presence to receive His truth interpretations, right? And you're working through grief and you're doing all that stuff. Everybody at every season has to constantly, as feelings come up, bring them through God's goodness, truth, interpretation. And sometimes it's a very long road to see how He's working through it and what His plan is. But He says, beyond all you can ask or think is what I'm going to give you. Greater fullness. It says that the path of the righteous grows brighter and brighter and brighter until the full day. So His plan at 57 for you, for me, for whomever, is that no matter what circumstance we're in, even relating to every part of us, is we're supposed to get brighter and brighter and fuller and more fulfilled. I don't know what that's going to look like for you, but we take our feelings and we make sure they're filtered through truth, and then we begin to receive the affirmations and the positive feelings that God gives us, and we can really dig into those and enjoy those and know that we're not just in a little bubble, and know that we can just really dig those moments of glory, those moments of peace and adoration, those moments of just feeling so happy to be in your own skin. And they come back. And those other ones, that come up here, we filter them through truth. So we can embrace some feelings that are founded on truth and reality, right? Just a little thought. And the best kind of fear to have is the fear that wakes you up and gives you an option. The fear that goes, oh my gosh, I've been investing in the wrong thing. I've been basing my life on feelings with no truth. I've been basing my life on a longing to get something that I've assigned meaning to that can never actually fulfill. It's not about having a legitimate need, it's about getting a legitimate need met in an illegitimate way, which is when we go after getting feelings fixed and to feel them without the reality of truth, right? And so the best fear to have is the kind of fear that pulls you away from the edge. And it should be followed by responsiveness, repentance, and heading back toward building everything, all my thoughts, all my ideas, all my words, all my action, all my risk, renewing my mind. My heart, my spirit gets it because I'm connected to Him. My mind has to be relentlessly renewed to the truth. And it's amazing how then the feelings that we feel based on truth are ones we can embrace and enjoy and welcome, even if there may be moments of grief. Because God, we have to grieve with our nation. We have to grieve with the loss. We have to grieve when we see the effects of sin in the world. But there's a grace grieving in that, right? And there's a righteous anger, right? A truth-filled, righteous, just anger. And we go through these things together. But we don't. Do you get what I'm saying? I think you do, because you guys are awful smart. You're awful smart. And I'm glad you're here today. So just thinking about fear, because sometimes people will say, but what about, fear is good, right? It could save your life. It's meant to be the hot on the fire that pulls us back, the burn that pulls us back, wakes us up and goes, oh, I can still make a better choice. I can choose to live on truth, not assign my own truth to a feeling I'm longing to feel. Gotcha? Got it? All right, you guys. You can join me at subscribestar.com. Look for Julie Lavender with an ER. If this is meaningful to you, you can donate and make sure that the love economy increases. Or also, we can work together in various levels of groups and personal contact. And I've got gifts for my subscribers, so you might want to check into that. But the most important thing is that you do something that scares you. And in this case, I mean to allow God to remove from you your obsessive need to get a certain kind of feeling, to fill a hole, a legitimate hole in your life in an illegitimate way. And it's scary to let God deal with that, right? Maybe that's your scary job for this week. And I will see you